Ogre's killer was...
Yep.
Damn.
I did it. I killed Sakura.
Just as I suspected.
Oh shit.
The footprints were made by a pair of sneakers. There was no mistaking it.
We call them trainers.
And the only people here who wear sneakers are...
Sneakers.
I got it!
Myself and Hina.
Me and Hina are the only ones. Oh, so Byakuya. That explains why you...
I got him to check his foot size. So are they yours? No. Let me see your shoes now. Cover the size for myself.
If the footprints didn't belong to Makoto, that left only one other possibility.
Just Hina.
Plus, Hina's been acting strange ever since the trial began.
Yeah, like she's been very adamant about getting the conclusion
You were in an
voted
awful
for.
rush to get to the vote, weren't you?
Yeah.
This whole time, you've been focused on pinning the crime on someone else, haven't you?
I can't believe it.
What about it can't you believe?
Well, it's just... the two of them were so close.
Yeah, it doesn't quite seem right.
That's likely exactly why it turned out this way. Because they were so close, Sakura didn't think twice about it when Hina handed her the concoction. Hina used that trust to kill her. She deceived the victim, and she tried to deceive all of us. I have to say, Hina, coming from you, this was a particularly nasty little scheme.
Yeah, if you say it like that.
Is it true? Did you really kill Sakura? And if you did, why? Why would you do that?
I found her. There in the rec room. She was hurt.
Yeah.
She asked me to bring her that protein drink. But when I went to get the powder from the chem lab, it just occurred to me all of a sudden.
Now's my chance to kill her. That's what you thought, right? That's when you switched out the protein powder, and that's when you gave her the poisoned mixture.
And then she downed it all at once. And then
Hold it.
Oh.
I'm not convinced.
You're not about to claim she wouldn't kill a close friend, are you?
I would have actually claimed
You
that.
still don't get it, do you? The game we're playing here isn't so kind.
Yeah, but Hina's been
Honeyed
kind
words
of
like
way
friendship
through.
don't matter here. What matters is outwitting the opponent, defeating them. Not a person alive would sacrifice themselves for another. In the end, we're all in it for ourselves.
Maybe you are, but
Just
not
like how
everybody.
this girl sacrificed Sakura to save herself.
You say that, but I'm still not convinced.
Yeah, because why else would Sakura have that yellow powder on her
How many
feet?
times do you plan to repeat yourself?
Don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying it because of some misguided sentimentalism.
Oh gee, thanks,
But there's
Kyoko.
still that one unsolved mystery, and I'm not convinced.
Are you talking about the locked room problem?
Oh yeah.
Hina, if you really are the killer, explain it. How did you create that locked room?
well, that doesn't matter. Just because I'm guilty, that means I have to tell you everything?
Yes.
No, it doesn't. But the fact that you won't tell us concerns me.
Surely you're not... Do you honestly think Hina didn't actually kill her?
Yes.
And if I do?
Impossible. She switched out the mixtures. She's the culprit. There's no way you can doubt this.
There's many ways
Are
you
you
can doubt
sure
this.
about that? Even ignoring the fact that I don't want to believe it, it just doesn't fit.
Yeah.
What doesn't fit?
I mean, why would someone leave such a clear clue like a footprint?
Yeah.
It's too obvious, too easy.
He's right. It makes it look like you wanted people to suspect you.
That was... I was just nervous. So, I didn't notice I'd left a footprint.
You
So
didn't
many.
notice?
Yeah, that's just how it was. What can I do?
Listen, Hina. Could you go into a bit more detail?
Oh.
Tell us more about when you switched the poison and the protein.
How come? That doesn't matter.
Hina, please, I'd like to know too.
Yeah.
Fine.
Waste your time if you like. It's clear that Hina is the culprit.
Yeah.
There's
yeah.
nobody else to suspect. Nobody else could have possibly done it.
Go ahead, Hina. Start from the moment you arrived at the chem lab.
Well, right away I went to Section C and got the poison.
And is that when you spilled the powder in front of that part of the shelf?
Yeah. When I opened the bottle, I dropped it like an idiot.
I see. Okay then, go on.
So then I moved to Section A and got the protein powder, and that's where I switched them. Once I was done with that, I took the protein can that had the poison in it and left the room. But I accidentally put the bottle filled with protein powder back on the wrong shelf. And because of that, everything I did got found out. And that's it.
That story you just told. First you went to Section C to get the poison. Then moved to Section A to get the protein, right? Meaning you went from Section C to Section A. Do I have that correct?
Yeah.
If that's true, the footprints don't make sense. Because the footprints are only in front of Section A, and if you dropped the bottle and spilled it in front of Section C, then surely there should have been footprints at Section C leading to Section A.
Can you repeat that series of events one more time?
What's wrong with you, Big Mac? You're being awfully pushy.
It's
Big
the
Mac.
same thing no matter how many times you hear it. How long until you're satisfied?
How long? So we figure it out. So we'll uncover the full truth of this case.
First I went to Section C. That's when I grabbed the poison.
And you spilled some of the powder on the ground in front of the shelf.
Yes.
Yeah. When I grabbed the bottle, I dropped it.
Okay, and then?
I moved from Section C to Section A.
Okay.
And that's where I switched the powders. Once I was done switching them, I put the bottle filled with the protein powder back in Section A. Then I took the bottle with the poison in it and left the chem lab.
Okay.
That's all there is to it.
Honestly, that's enough. How much longer must we tolerate this?
Byakuya, as soon as you think you're right, you close your mind off to everything else, and I really hate that about people.
First I went to Section C. That's when I grabbed the poison.
And you spilled some of the powder on the ground in front of the shelf.
Yes.
Yeah. When I grabbed the bottle, I dropped it.
Okay, and then?
I moved
Bless
from
me.
Section C to Section A.
Wrong.
No, that's wrong!
Because the footprints contradict that.
You said you went to get the poison from Section C. And that's where you spilled the powder, right?
Right.
Yeah? What about it?
And after that, you said you moved from Section C to Section A to get the protein.
Yep.
But the footprints left at the scene were not moving from Section C to Section A. That contradicts what you just said.
It looks like it was to Section A and out again.
Then maybe she moved in some weird direction on purpose to disguise her movements?
No, that can't be it. Remember what Hina just said?
I'm just nervous, so I didn't notice I left the footprints.
What the? Hina, what's the meaning of this?
You lied to us. Plain and simple. If you look at the footprints, your movements in the chem lab are obvious. The powder had already been spilled when you came in, and you went straight to Section A. So you never went to Section C. Whatever you did there, it only involved Section A.
Well, I see.
What the hell? What's going on here?
Ah, Byakuya, you were
And the
wrong.
footprints aren't the only problem with her account. Before I explain that part, I'd like to submit some new evidence.
Wait, what?
New evidence? Impossible, there can't be.
Are you sure? After all, you're the one that gave it to me.
I did?
It was hidden inside the bottle of poison you gave me. I'm amazed you, of all people, would miss such a vital clue. A truly grave oversight.
I can imagine Kyoko being very smug that she's one-upping Byakuya at this point, and Byakuya is just
say it already.
tormented.
What is it you think you found?
I found this.
Huh? A piece of glass?
It had sunk to the bottom of the bottle, and the hidden clue was exposed. Thanks to you ingesting the powder. I couldn't have solved the mystery without you. So, thank you for that.
But what is it?
Oh, you still don't realize? Well then, Makoto, why don't you explain it?
Me?
Huh? Me?
Fine. If you really do know, explain the meaning of that shard of glass.
Should we just go found the bottle of poison? Oh well, now broke something with just the same shade of blue. The rec room window.
It's part of the window from the rec room door, right?
The window?
Oh.
The window we broke to get in was light blue, just like that. So I think that must be it.
Yeah.
You're right, it must be. Of course, that leads to another question.
How did it get there?
How did a shard of glass from the window get inside this bottle of poison?
What's so strange about that?
A lot is strange about
What's
that.
strange is that, according to what Hina told us,
This bottle should have been when I broke the rec room on section A of the shelf.
I got it! The bottle of poison was left on the shelf in the chem lab. That is what you said, right, Hina?
Right.
And yet, somehow a piece of glass from the rec room window made its way into the bottle.
After we'd found the body.
Everything Hina told us was a lie?
Yeah.
In reality, that bottle of poison most definitely found its way to the rec room. It was there at least until the window got broken. In other words, when the locked room was unlocked. There's no other way to explain the presence of that glass in that bottle.
And then, once the room was opened, the bottle somehow got moved back to the shelf in the chem lab. Meanwhile, the protein can we found at the crime scene was planted there. That had to be after the locked room was opened.
Yes, because it was lying on top
In
of the
other
glass.
words, after Sakura died.
Wait, hold on. You're moving too fast.
Oh, shut up, Yakia.
I'll grant you, the bottle of poison may well have been in the rec room when it was locked. But how can you say the protein can was put there after the room was unlocked? We already know she was given the protein can with the poison inside, right?
You're desperately trying to cling to you
That
being
can
right.
wasn't there when she died. How did she get poisoned?
You're right. We do need to explain that. But before we do, there's something I'd like to confirm with everyone here. It has to do with the protein can. After Sakura's body was discovered, did anyone move it or trip over it or anything like that?
What are you talking about? Is this some kind of loaded question?
Not at all. Just answer to the best of your ability.
Well, no, not that I remember.
Yeah, me either.
Not me.
Same here.
Yeah, me either.
Okay.
Okay then, that settles it.
It wasn't moved, but it was
That
still on top
proves
of the
that
glass.
the protein can found its way to the murder scene after the room was opened.
Oh, come on! How can you say that? How can you know what I don't know?
Oh, shut up, Yakia. You pretentious prick. I know I keep saying that, but he really is. I really, really hate him. Just people like that, I despise.
When it comes to that protein can, there's not a doubt in my mind. Until the locked room was unlocked, it absolutely was not in there.
So you're saying someone planted it there after we got the door open?
Yeah.
No, that's impossible! It had to have been in there the whole time!
Nope.
It had to be! It was in there before the rec room was unlocked!
No, that's wrong.
Because he's resting on top of the glass. He's just trying to cling to him being right and he can't accept that he's wrong.
You remember how there was broken glass scattered all around the room, right?
Right.
Of course! It came from the window you broke to get in. What about it?
Well, those pieces weren't just scattered around the protein can. We also found pieces underneath the can.
What?
And this proves it. It shows that the can must have been put down on the floor after the window was broken. So it had to be after we got into the room.
I see. So that's your explanation. Kyoko, earlier when you asked if anyone had moved the can or tripped over it,
If that were the case, that would explain the can being on top of the glass.
Yep.
So you asked everyone about it to eliminate that possibility right out of the gate.
And that's made everything clear, hasn't it?
Yep.
As long as it was a locked room, It only contained the bottle of poison, and not the protein can. But once the room was opened up, they were switched, and as a result, the protein can wound up in the rec room, and the bottle of poison returned to the chem lab.
And the only one who was moving around during all that time was Hina. But why would she...
That's all true, then why did Sakura drink the poison? I thought we all agreed she was tricked into drinking it because of the protein can.
But what if she wasn't tricked?
No, that's not why. The only explanation is she drank it from its original bottle, knowing exactly what it
It
was.
was a suicide.
Precisely. She was alone in a locked room. All she had was the poison. What other possibility is there?
You're saying she drank it knowing what it was?
You may not believe this, Byakuya, but sometimes people do put others before themselves.
Such a ridiculous fiction is...
Exactly what happened.
Then tell us already. Sorry. Please, tell us.
Oh, he's
Before
being
we get to
humbled.
that, we need to clarify one other thing. We need to establish who exactly got the poison from the chem lab and took it to the rec room.
It was Hina, right? She took it and gave it to Ogre.
What do you think, Makoto?
Got the point in the chem lab and brought to the rec room. Had to have been
I got it!
Sakura herself.
I think it was Sakura herself.
Huh? So Sakura, who was apparently murdered, just poisoned herself?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? There's no way!
No,
On
actually,
the
I think there is.
contrary, we know for a fact she went to the chem lab, right to the section full of poisons.
Because it spilled
You're
onto her.
lying! Stop lying! Why? Why would you lie like that?
No, it's not a lie. Sakura definitely went to Section C. Or show me the evidence I need. I have to hit Hina with it. I have to make her accept this. Oh god, we're having another one of these battles. Alright.
You're a liar! What are you saying? Wrong! You're wrong! I'm telling you, I did it! Stop talking! You're a liar! Wrong! You're wrong! Wrong! You're wrong! I hate you! You're a liar! What are you saying? Wrong! You're wrong! I'm telling you, I did it! Stop talking! You're a liar! Wrong! You're wrong!
Bam!
Do you have any—
This should prove it.
The yellow powder. On her foot.
Hina, did you know that Sakura's foot had a certain yellow powder stuck to it?
It did?
It did. The same yellow powder that had been spilled by the shelf in the chem lab. That powder was yellow, wasn't it?
Oh, most definitely.
So the powder we found on Sakura. What else could it be but the powder from the chem lab?
Wait. So, what was that powder doing on Ogre's foot?
And it was only on her instep, right?
Right.
Sakura must have been standing right there where the powder was spilled. So the person who spilled the powder by the shelf wasn't Hina, but Sakura. And when Sakura dropped the bottle, she dropped it away from where she was actually standing, which is how she was able to avoid getting it all over herself. But the powder still got scattered around, and some of it must have wound up on her instep.
Damn.
Is there any problem with my thinking?
No?
But why did Sakura pay a visit to Section C in the first place? The only explanation is that she was looking for poison. After all, that's all that section contains.
Exactly.
No! It was me! The poison!
Not Hina.
Because I killed her!
But you didn't,
No.
Hina.
You didn't kill her.
And Sakura. Some person in some mystery locked room. There's only one way to explain it. Sakura committed suicide.
Here's my answer.
To repent
The
for
one who
everything she'd
killed
done.
Sakura was Sakura herself.
What? The killer was Sakura?
Wait, so you're saying It was suicide?
I don't believe it. I don't believe it any more than I believe I can fly.
Oh.
I can't believe it either. Or rather, I don't want to believe it. But when you really think about it, everything matches up.
And when you're in an area of despair like this, it'd be easy.
Sakura went and got the poison. She barricaded herself in a room, and she drank it, all so she could end her own life. And that explains why we couldn't solve the mystery of the locked room.
Because she locked it herself.
I got it! The locked room mystery was created by Sakura.
The victim created the
I'm
locked
sure
room.
she locked herself in so nobody could stop her from doing what she did.
Particularly Hina,
She sat there, drank the poison, and breathed her last breath.
which would then explain her vomiting
And the
blood.
empty bottle of poison rolled around the locked room until we came and opened it. At that point, someone grabbed the bottle and snuck it out of the room. And that was you, wasn't it, Hina?
She made it look like a murder instead.
You did it to throw off the investigation, didn't you? When we found her body, you stayed right there near the door because you already knew Sakura was dead, and because the bottle of poison had rolled near the doorway.
That's when you picked up the bottle, right? I was too shocked to notice anything. And Kyoko was busy checking the body.
And the more I think about it, the more I realize how unusual your actions
Yeah,
were.
she was the one who dove off to get everyone.
You said you were going to go get everyone else, but your real intention was to go to the chem lab and switch out the containers, wasn't it? Once you were at the chem lab, you headed straight to the section where the protein powder was kept. There, you took the powder and poured it into the bottle of poison you'd grabbed from the rec room. When you left the lab, all you had was the empty protein can. Thinking about it like that, the footprints make perfect sense.
Yeah, they do.
When you were done, you gathered everyone together. And once you were back in the rec room,
Planted the protein bottle.
while everyone else was focused on Sakura, you quietly placed the can on the ground. Honestly, I should have noticed. You should have been the first one to run up to Sakura's lifeless body.
Yeah,
The Hina
should've.
I know never would have left her side in a situation like that.
So, Sakura committed suicide. In order to hide this fact, Hina undertook a series of actions to undermine the investigation.
Yeah.
As long as you could disguise the truth, you didn't care if we blamed you for her death. That's why you didn't bother to get rid of such obvious evidence, right? The footprints in the powder and the bottle of poison? Vital pieces of evidence, and yet,
So you're saying Hina consciously deceived us to make it look like she killed Sakura?
Yeah.
No! I killed her! I did it!
That's
No, you
enough,
didn't.
Hina. It's over.
It's not! Nothing's over!
It is. Actually, no. You're right. We have to end this properly.
Okay. So Byakuya reading it there. So Toko arrived, hidden locker, came in. So Candy, shocked, and bottled her. Night came flying out. Toko saw all of this. Peeked her head out. Saw that and put it away. Sakura got up. She fainted. Knocked her out. Which then explains the Queen, she cleared that up and escaped. Sakura then woke up, got the bottle of poison and killed herself. Then when we got in there, Hina picked up a bottle of poison. And hid everything away. That makes the most sense to me.
Here's exactly what happened. This case began when Sakura asked a number of people to meet her in the rec room. Specifically, those people were Hiro, Toko, and Byakuya. But one of them headed out a bit earlier than the others. Toko. She got there one step ahead of everyone else and looked around for a good hiding spot.
You can kind of understand why some of them did what they did in this.
She crawled into the locker to get out of sight. Then, from inside the locker, she saw Sakura enter the room. Next to arrive was Hiro. When he got there, he mistakenly thought Sakura was going to try to kill him, so he panicked. Without thinking, he grabbed a nearby Monokuma bottle and attacked Sakura with it.
Yeah.
Thinking he'd killed her, he hastily began covering up his crime.
Because he panicked.
He took a magazine from the table and forged a dying message from Sakura. To that end, he wrote down a name.
Toko, one other person that we
Toko.
believe did it.
By writing her name, he was hoping to pin the murder on her. But of course, Toko had witnessed the whole thing. So as soon as the coast was clear, she jumped out of the locker and hid the magazine on the shelf with all the others. But in her rush, she made one little mistake. She put the magazine back upside down. Soon after, she watched as Sakura slowly opened her eyes. She also saw the blood dripping off Sakura's head and fainted.
Because she has a severe phobia of blood.
This caused her personality to switch back over to Genocide Jack. When she woke back up, her second personality also saw the blood-soaked Sakura.
And
she
freaked out.
freaked out.
Yeah.
And just like Hiro, she grabbed another Monokuma bottle and attacked her. This explains why there were 2 wounds on Sakura's head. Assuming Sakura really was dead this time, she set about disposing of the evidence.
Yeah.
She gathered up the broken Monokuma bottle shards and the queen chess piece. And that explains how Sakura was attacked twice with the same type of weapon.
So far, so good.
But even after those 2 blows, she was still alive.
Because let's face it, the ultimate martial artist.
So then, what was Sakura's actual cause of death? It was the poison that Sakura herself got from the chem lab.
Which she must have gotten before all of this occurred, in case things went wrong.
She turned the rec room into a true locked room scenario, and then drank the deadly mixture. And there, she took her final breath. Later on, the rest of us discovered that her body was in there. We had to smash the door's window to get inside. But someone already knew what had happened. Knew that she had committed suicide.
Yeah.
And that same someone quietly snatched the bottle of poison from off the ground. And while nobody was looking, replaced it with an empty protein can. They did all this specifically to place all the suspicion on themselves, in an attempt to guide the trial to a false conclusion.
Why would she
and
do
the
that?
one who went to all that effort